Yes.
So let's say I'm CEO of a traditional company. I don't know, I produce steel or widgets or whatever it might be. We've been in business for a long time and we're facing certain challenges from cheaper markets and difference in behavior. And I want to know a little bit about design. How can design thinking, is this something that would work with me? You don't just train design thinking, you're also a consultant, you kind of guide and mentor.
Yes.
Tell our viewers a little bit about how a scenario of where a client might call you and what you do. What's the process that you kind of go through with them?
Customer can call us and say, yes, we need more money, we have an issue, we need new products. We are starting to die out actually, please help us.
Okay.
So first step is always to get some facts and figures. Okay, so just we're dying out requires facts and figures. What's the issue, to get a real understanding about the problem. And then typically this, and although it's agile, it somehow has to be kind of project character, of course, to say, right, for a certain period of time, let's say 6 to 8 months, for example, how much are we willing to invest in terms of resources, in terms of money, and how open are we to actually find out new ideas and new things. And then you can just start to clustering. So first part is to really understand the problem, the need, the strategy of the organization, which focus is currently existing, so really get an understanding. And now if you talk about a shoe brand, for example, who says, yes, we get rid of our customers, there are no customers anymore, in general, because everyone buys online. Still a question could be, how can we attract our branch or our affiliate actually for a certain target group, maybe for the elderly people, to be more attractive. So second question and second topic is to say, right, this is now a clear problem, a clear mandate to work on this. Then it's about to understand now this target group, to build up empathy and to understand how do they work, how do they behave, what do they think, what's their reaction, what is their life, what's around them. So really get a deep understanding and understand about pains and topics and challenges they have that from first step have nothing to do with our business, for example.
Who do you interact with at this first stage? It's not just executives, right?
No. It's about people on the field. So it's about product managers, service managers.
People who are close to the end user.
People who are close to the end users.
Although you probably also have to include senior managers because they have to endorse it.
Yes, and what I want to say, but still you need someone on board who can decide, yes, we go into that, yes, we change the product portfolio, yes, we change the service portfolio, yes, we go and try and test it and go for it. And just now taking the shoe brand, and if you're maybe in a huge complex of stores, what's the question of people who are not that active anymore? They cannot buy a lot. They cannot carry the thing home. They are not comfortable to moving around with all the people and the escalators and so on. They want to have support in buying shoes. They need support in that, etc., etc. So you get a huge punch of pains what those people have with their shopping experience. And there's no gain. There's no positive thing. So question now is to say, right, I understand the users, empathize, and now I define a clear statement. How can I make my shoe branch that great, that supporting to really get my elderly people on board and to have a great experience for them? So this is like the first part of a consulting guiding project, to really have we are losing money and losing business, to nail it down into one clear segment. That's our job or my job, to support in defining this, how might we challenge or design challenge, how it's called, to really have a clear statement.
I think what probably also happens in this process is you want to make a clear awareness of where are we in our mindset and the way we see the world, and kind of shake it up a little and see what can we do. I mean, an example that I would say, underneath my apartment, there's a Greek restaurant which is very, very good. It has good rankings, and
I'm looking forward to go there.
Good. We'll go sometime. I often, if I'm in a hurry and I don't want to have a sit-down experience, and also maybe cost consideration, right? got a certain budget that you have to work according to. I'll sometimes go to a Chinese restaurant, which is a little further down, and that Chinese restaurant makes a killing, right? They have theoretically 3 or 4 tables in the back, but hardly anybody ever sits it. Everybody takes it to go, and they make a killing because they have almost no overhead. All of their resources goes into production of food, which means it has an immediate impact on revenue. And it's located great. But every time I walk up the street and I walk past the Greek, I almost feel guilty. Because I mean, he can theoretically look out the window, and every time he sees that little white bag, he's saying, he got takeaway. And you know what? I often, and this is an example. I mean, I as a customer say, you know what? I wish I would go more to you, but you're not giving me that option. I've often thought, and I also thought about this during COVID, a lot of the restaurants that closed down was because they weren't able to shift from a real life presence to a delivery process. And I've often thought I should talk to the Greek guy down there and say, listen, you know what? You should offer, I mean, this is all residences around here, right? Some people who have a budget to work on, some who are old and can't get out. Of course, they're going to come to your restaurant, but how often? Maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks. Why not? Could you create an experience where everybody here who's close by, right, uses you multiple times a week? And I thought, listen, if you were to offer a cheaper menu that you can have a to-go thing where you could call, or you could even have a regular, you could set it up. Listen, I'll pay you monthly, and 3 times a week you deliver, or I pick it up, right?
So there are many options of
these are creative examples, and I think the biggest challenge that we also face on multiple levels when consulting people, our job is to kind of shake their brain and say, listen, you've got a great asset. Are you getting the most out of the asset? And I think it's tradition, I think it's status quo that keeps people from thinking outside of the box.
And it does not hurt too much now.
And they're afraid of, what does it mean if I change the way I think or the way I act? And in reality, we're not even talking about huge additional costs, but potentially life-altering and P&L altering possibilities.
Yes.
You know? And I think too few companies are willing to entertain that. And design thinking is a framework that doesn't give you creativity. It isn't creative for you, but if you're open to it, and you have maybe a little bit of a mentor or coach that helps you,
it's a structure. It's a guideline.
It can shake you a little bit and say, "Hey, listen, what you have this saying about the box?
Yeah, don't think out of the box. Think like there is no box.
Yeah.
So really,